How's it going, everyone? Man here with my starter guide for the Shaman. I'll be going over all the damage values and speeds of all of her attacks, as well as the optimal punishes after a parry, a Guardbreak, or on an exhausted opponent. And as with my other videos, I'm going to have a link to a spreadsheet in the description that shows the damage and speeds of every attack for every hero. All of Shaman's basic light attacks are 500 milliseconds. The starting light attack does 10 damage, and the follow-up light attack does 15. And if you ever to connect the starting light attack, the follow-up light attack is guaranteed and does 5 damage. All of Shaman's basic heavy attacks are 800 milliseconds. The starting heavy attacks do 33 damage, and the heavy finishers do 32 damage. And if you do a heavy finisher from the left side, it turns into an Unblockable that does 40 damage and is 1100 milliseconds. All of Shaman's dodge attacks do 25 damage and are considered heavy attacks. The forward side attacks are 500 milliseconds, the forward top attack is 700 milliseconds, and the side dodge attacks are 500 milliseconds. The first hit of the zone attack is 500 milliseconds and comes from the left side, and it does a total of 50 damage across all 4 hits. It can also be soft feinted into a bleed attack or cancelled into idle stance before the third attack. Her running attack is a 500 millisecond heavy attack from the top, and it can also be used as a chain starter. Shaman's light bleed attack does 20 points of pure bleed damage and is 500 milliseconds from the sides and 400 milliseconds from the top. This attack can be done by pressing light attack during the startup of a starting heavy attack or before the third hit of a zone attack. It can also be done after any chain finisher. Her deflect attack is a light attack that does 12 bleed and 18 regular damage for a total of 30 damage. Now, her heavy attacks have a few unique properties to them. Obviously, her starting heavy attack can be soft feinted into the bleed attack, but her heavy finishers can be dodged cancelled. This is very similar to the Berserker being able to dodge cancel his starting attacks. Of course, you can follow this up with a dodge attack. And if you let your heavy finisher go through, you can follow up with the bleed attack. Now, you don't actually have to hit your opponent with it, you can just miss and still follow up with the attack. And of course, this bleed attack does reset your chain, allowing you to follow up with your light attacks or another starting heavy attack. And finally, she can soft feint any of her heavy attacks into a Guardbreak. So that's the starting heavy attack or the chain finishers. This is exactly the same as Centurion, and so it doesn't take any additional stamina as a normal feint would. One of Shaman's most important abilities is her blood trance. When an opponent is bleeding, any source of damage you deal to them will heal you. It's a very small amount of health, maybe like 3 to 4 health per hit, but still any form of healing is very strong. After dodging either forward or backwards, Shaman can enter 2 different stances. The first of which is called Wildcat's Rage, which can be done by holding heavy attack, and by releasing heavy attack, she will do one of her dodge attacks. The second is called Predator's Hunger, which can be done by holding the Guardbreak button, and by releasing Guardbreak, she does an Unblockable pounce move. Now, both these stances can be cancelled in 2 different ways. The first of which is that they can be cancelled directly into each other by holding the other button. So as you can see, the Predator's Hunger, she does not have her weapons out, while the Wildcat's Rage, she does have them out. And the second way that they can be cancelled is into idle stance by pressing the normal feint button. So her pounce is a 400 millisecond unblockable bash type move. It drains a tiny bit of stamina and also can guarantee a light attack at certain ranges. Her pounce can also wall stun an opponent, which can allow you to get a heavy attack, or if you want, you can soft feint a heavy attack into the bleed attack. And if your opponent is bleeding, it turns your Predator's Hunger into Predator's Mercy. You jump on your opponent and bite them for 50 damage. This also heals you for 20 health, and any bleed on the opponent is instantly activated, dealing damage immediately. And the last part of Shaman's move list is her throw shortcuts. So whenever you guard break and throw an opponent, you can press heavy attack and will follow up with a guaranteed dodge attack. You can also throw them and press the guard break button to follow up with a pounce. Now the pounce is not always guaranteed, and if you pounce them this way, you pretty much cannot get the light attacks afterwards. As for Shaman's basic guard break punishes, you can get a heavy attack for 33 damage, or you can decide to soft feint your heavy attack into a top late bleed attack. The top late bleed attack is guaranteed every time because it's 400 milliseconds, but if you do the side light bleed attacks, the opponent can block them. Now if your opponent is already bleeding when you guard break them, you can throw them and get a guaranteed Predator's Mercy. Now unlike the normal pounce, this is actually 100% guaranteed, which just makes this move all the more powerful. As for her parry punishes, aside from a guard break, if you parry a heavy attack, you can get your double hitting light attacks. And if you parry a light attack, you can get a heavy attack from any side. And if your opponent is bleeding and you parry a light attack, you can get a guaranteed Predator's Mercy without the need of a guard break. Before I get on to the exhausted punishes, I just want to talk about Shaman's unique throw in its comparison to some other characters who have the same throw. Basically, if your opponent is on a tiny bit of stamina left, and your throw would drain their stamina to 0, it would still knock them down. Now most other characters, it does not do this. So the characters that have this are Warlord on all his throws, Raider on his backwards throw, which most people probably know about that, Peacekeeper on her forward throw, and also Berserker on his side throws. And for Shaman, she has it on her forward throw. As for Shaman's exhausted throw punishes, you can get a dodge attack for 25, a heavy attack for 32, and then a top light bleed attack for 20. Now it has to be a top light bleed or else it can be blocked. And if you do all this correctly, it will total up at 77 damage. An alternative exhausted punish can be done if your opponent is bleeding. So you can throw your opponent, get a dodge attack, and then get a Predator's Mercy as they're getting up. Now this is going to do 75 damage, but it's also going to heal you for 20 health. As for her exhausted parry punish, you can get a heavy for 33 damage, and then the unblockable heavy for 40, totaling at 73 damage. An alternative parry punish can be done if your opponent's back is against a wall. What you can do is soft feint your heavy attack into the top late bleed for 20 damage, and then get them with the Predator's Mercy for 50. This is going to be a total of 70 damage, and you're also going to heal 20 health. The next punish can be done if your opponent is already bleeding. You can get a heavy attack for 33, dodge cancel your next heavy into Predator's Mercy for 50. This is going to be a total of 83 damage plus 20 points of healing. Okay, so my overall opinions of Shaman are that she is just the best character, without a doubt. And I definitely think she is too strong. And not just because she gets a lot of damage, or she heals, or she's too fast, but she's too strong in comparison to the other characters. And also, she kind of takes a lot of moves that other characters have, and she has a better version of those moves. So the main example would probably be Shigoki's Demon's Embrace. Like, his Demon's Embrace does 40 damage, and it heals him for 40 health, so that's an 80-point life difference, right? But he can only get the Demon's Embrace if he throws somebody into a wall, where Shaman can get her Predator's Mercy if you just guard break somebody, and as long as they're bleeding, you always get it no matter what. That, I think, is a bit too strong. Another thing is that she can kind of, like, the fact that she can cancel her pounce on its startup, it actually creates an unblockable indicator too. So, because she can cancel it into idle, she can just do like a guard break, and then when you try to dodge the pounce, she guard breaks you. So it's like, it's like a Warden type situation with the 50-50. Like, no other character besides Warden can actually cancel an unblockable bash type move until Shaman now. So she's like, you know, she's like a better Warden because she's faster. She has more options. Now of course she takes a couple moves from Peacekeeper, a couple moves from Centurion. You know, Peacekeeper, yeah, she just has a better Peacekeeper move. Peacekeeper has it so when she starts a heavy attack, she can press light attack and it goes into the bleed stab. But Shaman's bleed stab is better in every single way. One, it does more damage. Shaman's bleed does 20, and Peacekeeper's only does 15. And then on top of that, Shaman's can be done from any direction, where Peacekeeper's has to be done from the same side as the heavy attack. It's just a straight upgrade to Peacekeeper's ability. So unless they buff the other characters that Shaman kind of takes the abilities from, she's going to continue to be really strong. So, in my opinion, the best ways to nerf Shaman would be mostly for her pounce. Her pounce, I think, has a bit too much utility. I don't think it should be able to be cancelled into idle stance. It's fine that it can cancel into the Wildcat's rage. Like, they can just kind of swap back and forth. But the ability to cancel them into nothing makes that 50-50 situation, like with Warden. And I really don't think she needs that to be good. So I think that would be fine if they just remove that. I also think that her pounce, or her Predator's Mercy should not be guaranteed off of any Guardbreak throw. Because it's such a powerful ability in itself. So either they would have to like nerf the damage on it or the healing on it, or just make it not guaranteed on any throw. Because to be honest, it would be fine if she just threw them into a wall and got the Predator's Mercy that way, because, you know, her throw distance is like nearly the same as Warlord's, which I didn't even mention, but yeah, she has a throw distance similar to Warlord. But yeah, and then the last thing would probably be her blood trance. I think, well, this is like not really that big a deal, but I think maybe if they made it so her blood trance only healed on certain attacks, like obviously her bite, if it healed her, but maybe like her unblockable attack, maybe her zone attack, maybe her bleed attacks, not just every single hit she does. It might, but that's just an opinion of mine. I just think healing's really strong. But anyways, that's my thoughts on Shaman. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys learned something new. Let me know what you guys think about Shaman. Is she OP? Do you think she's fine? Do you think more characters should be like her? Let me know in the comments, guys. And I will talk to you all in my next video.